WWE Hall of Famer Goldberg reveals he is unhappy with his WWE retirement match. He is reportedly angry at the way he went out and is also not happy with being cut off on the microphone in an explosive interview with Errol Hawani. Masa Slamovic pins JC Jane on WWE NXT ahead of Slammiversary. Tony DAngelo wins the family business triple threat match on NXT. Jordynne Grace crashes the Evolve Women's title match on NXT and calls out Blake Monroe. TNA Wrestling's The System appeared last night on NXT. Several big matches and segments are confirmed for next week's episode of NXT on the CW. We've got an update on Wardlow's status in AEW after he was spotted backstage at All In Texas. The backstage morale after All In Texas last weekend has been revealed. AEW files for an interesting trademark in recent days. El Grande Americano is set for an upcoming AAA show. And more details on Bryan Danielson being asked by WWE to not do the yes chance. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with an explosive interview from WWE Hall of Famer Goldberg just days after he retired on WWE television, losing to Gunther at WWE Saturday Night's main event. Now, as mentioned, Goldberg is now a former pro wrestler, possibly. We'll get to that in just a bit. But he had his retirement match at WWE Saturday Night Main Event, taking on Gunther for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now, after Goldberg lost the match, he briefly got on the microphone to thank fans before the show went off the air on NBC. Now, speaking to Errol Hawani on the Errol Hawani show, Goldberg detailed how everything went down with his retirement match. Now, he was pretty open and honest, saying he was pretty pissed off on the way that he went out. Here's what he had to say.
Bill, it feels like you're battling like mixed emotions here about everything. That it's something that you're not quite sure how to feel about in the immediate aftermath. Is that accurate?
Let's just say I'm pissed off at the way I went out. Because I put so much into it, and I don't feel as though the effort was reciprocated to put a stamp on, what I accomplished. I'm not going to say that I'm not ecstatic about the opportunity that I got, but I was a WCW guy, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it could have been done a little bit differently. That's all. And I'm happy with my performance. I'm happy with, the setting, but could it have been better? Absolutely. It can always be better.
And I know you mentioned this 2-week thing, but I'd be remiss if I don't ask, what specifically could have been done differently? Could you tell us that?
Well, there's about 100 things. I mean, I did 3 interviews beforehand, Ariel. I did 3, right? In 6 months. It's just, they cut me off 30 seconds into my speech, bro. You don't do that. But, it's all good. It's all good.
Do you think that was their call or the network's call?
I think it doesn't matter because it's live television and you can plan for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. So, and I know it is what it is, and the match might have gone long, and this and that, and whatever it is. But I just think that it could have been a little classier prepared than it was, and I'll just say, and that's a mild understatement. Yeah, man, come on, man.
By the way, did they know that you were going to speak afterwards? Was that part of the plan?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
But I never heard I was going to speak for like 28 seconds.
Right.
But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I got the opportunity to speak for 28 seconds.
How did you react when you went backstage and realized that it got cut off? Because I'm sure in the moment you think that this is airing across the world, right?
I don't care. It's not worth me. It's not worth me. I'm not going to snivel over it by any means. I got an opportunity to have it for 28 seconds. Not many people get that. But it just, everything throughout the years have built up to something like the ultimate rib. I guess that was the ultimate rib.
You
right?
think that was intentional? You think that was done on purpose?
I don't know. I'm not saying it was done on purpose by any stretch of the imagination. I'm saying that it wasn't prepared for on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. So I mean, they wouldn't do that to Taker, right? I don't think they wouldn't. They're not going to do that to Cena. Cena's going around the world doing his retirement thing. You know, mine was just the World Heavyweight Championship match. And to be honest with you, I mean, and I'm going to catch hell for. I don't care. It was a dude. I had World Heavyweight matches all the time. That doesn't do anything for me. It does, but make it different than just an angle, at least at the end, and do something, say something. I don't know. It just felt a little for me. That's all. That's it. And like I said, man, I'm not here to bitch and moan because I don't do that. And I'm not complaining by any stretch of the imagination. You asked me a question and I'm answering.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, Goldberg was also asked about if the plan was always to face Gunther in the retirement match in Atlanta specifically, and always on Saturday night's main event as the location for his final match inside of a WWE ring. Here's what the Hall of Famer had to say in regards to that.
Okay, so when you were approached about this, was it always Gunther? Was it always Atlanta? Was it always Saturday night's main event?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I was too thrilled about part of that, but
which part were you not thrilled about?
No, well, I mean, the Saturday night main event and live TV in Atlanta. I mean, you always have your dreams of how you're going to do things, and ultimately to have a little bit more control over the time and the space would have been much more preferred. Let's just put it that way. And but to be given that opportunity on such a special show with the lineage of the show, to be able to go against the World Heavyweight Champion, to be able to go against Gunther, I mean, hey, it was a honor and a privilege to be able to be given that opportunity, and I had to make the most of it.
In other words, would you have preferred a PLE?
100%.
Because you get more time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
They cut me off for freaking 20 seconds with the microphone in my hand, for God's sakes.
So I was working my way towards that.
I got 2 weeks, man. I got 2 weeks before I can really, spill the beans and, make my feelings kind of known about the entire rundown from the inception of the idea to its delivery. It was a little less than to be desired, but again, I'm not going to complain because not many people get that opportunity. There are a number of variables that were such that, you're put behind the 8 ball, and to be able to go out there and perform in, I don't know, 12, 13-minute match, 15-minute match, felt like 115 minutes, but it was a great opportunity. And Gunther was an unbelievable guy to work with. It was awesome. I had a good time, man. I was laughing in there when he was chopping me. I mean, I actually had fun.
By the way, the official time, I do believe, is 14 minutes and 23 seconds, which is your longest match since 2003, triple threat against Triple H and Kane.
Yeah, man. I mean, so where are all the people that said I can't go more than 2 minutes? And, he sweats so much when he walks to the ring. People listen to me. I pour a bottle of water on my head before I walk to the ring. So there's a reason why I sweat all the time. That and I sweat. So, yeah, I couldn't have done it without my dance partner, and it was awesome, man. I've never chopped in my life. I've never been chopped in Flair chopped me, but that was fun, man. There were moments in that match where I actually enjoyed myself, and I can't say that I've done that very many times. So for that and a plethora of other little reasons, I think that I had a good time Saturday night. And so I'm not even sore, man. My hand is the only thing that hurts a little.
Broken?
I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what happened. Maybe when I went through the barrier or something, or who knows? One of those injuries. I'm going to tape an aspirin on it and it'll feel better.
Now, when it comes to the build, Goldberg said once again he would have liked for them to have a longer build as opposed to just what he describes as 3 weeks' notice that the match was even going to happen.
I would have loved for them to announce it in January
Got
and
it.
have a build up to it and do something like that I thought was maybe worthy of my career. But let's just say that they chose to do it with 3 weeks notice, and it is what it is, man. It's part of the package. It's part of the meal that you get dealt, and I would be remiss in thinking that I thought the meal would be different, but it was shame on me for thinking that it would have been different. Don't you love the way that I've been able to navigate my words?
Yeah, no, you're fantastic at it. You're fantastic.
Now, he was also offering an apology to Gunther. Of course, a moment in the match that a lot of people have been talking about is when Gunther delivered one of his trademark chops to the Hall of Famer, and Goldberg responded by actually laughing at the ring general. He actually said that he apologized because he wasn't sure what to actually expect.
Gunther, you mentioned him for a moment there. I just want to ask, as a dance partner, as a guy who is one of the faces of the company now, what do you think of him, working with him for the first time?
I just really apologize. Number one, I clipped him once with the right hand. And number two, man, I laughed when he chopped me, but I didn't know what to expect because, you feel these chops throughout your career a little bit, and they're loud, man. It looks like they hurt. You look at the skin, and it leaves some good marks, and it's devastating. Look, it's a great work punch, right? But
What a photo.
I thought it was going to hurt more. That's all. And it just startled me. And I didn't mean to do that. And I really apologize because I didn't mean to. That's not a rib. I'm not trying to, downplay his move, but it caught me off guard. And I completely broke character.
It's a great photo, though. That one that we just showed.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that.
I mean, I know, it's just, I can't believe that I did that. I feel so bad, man, because I love that kid. And to be able to have my last match with him, it was freaking awesome. The kid's extremely talented. And man, would I love to have a chop fest with him and, have 10 more of those matches, because each one you do with him is better. It's like having a match with Josh Barnett, probably. You don't have to worry about, where the punch is coming from, whether it's going to be a punch or a knee or an elbow or whatever it is. It's just a barrage. And that's how Steiner used to be. And, it was an honor to work with the kid. And I really am appreciative of him helping me out and making this old man look, like he could do some stuff.
Now, when it comes to his actual future, he was asked the inevitable question that all pro wrestlers get asked after retirement. Are you really done, or do you have any more matches left in you?
Is it officially out of your system now? In combat sports, people retire and then they come back 2 years later, 3 years later, 1 year later, 6 months later. Are you officially done? Will you never wrestle again?
I can't say that. I mean, in principle, yeah, I'm done. But I worked my ass off for 5 months, and I don't think I've dedicated that much of my life towards one goal, like one night. And I don't know. I would be remiss in saying that it did feel as though it was a waste because I only went out there for 14 minutes and that was it. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm 58 years old. My body's kind of torn to shreds. Hopefully I was able to cover a lot of it up. And, and I had my retirement match. I had 91 people fly in from all around the world, that were personal guests of mine. And I don't know if I want to kickstart that again and say, hey guys, guess what? I didn't retire. I'm going to go one more time. You don't plan stuff like that. In the world of professional wrestling, I guess you're not retired until you're dead. But, in principle, yeah, I'm retired.
Now, interestingly, in this interview, he was asked about his son, that being Gage Goldberg. Now, Bill Goldberg's WWE career may have come to an end with a loss to the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther at Saturday night's main event, but could we see the next generation of Goldberg inside of a WWE ring? Discussing the future of Goldberg's son Gage during the post-Evolution press conference, Paul Triple H Levesque said, quote, "He probably won't be the last Goldberg in the business. I can see this sparkle in Gage's eyes, and he's been very clear about it. If the NFL doesn't work out, here he comes. So we'll see." Now, the 19-year-old currently plays as a linebacker for the Colorado Buffaloes. According to Gage's Hall of Famer father, he has already had to put a stop to the company trying to sign his son to an NIL deal. During this appearance on the Errol Hawani show, Goldberg revealed, quote, "They tried to give him an NIL deal, but when I found out how much they were going to give him, I put the brakes on that one. But they would be ignorant if they didn't have an idea that it could be in the future." Now, seemingly, of course, he didn't say whether it was too much or too little money, but you can make the guess when it comes to that. Now, let's go over to WWE NXT, and TNA Knockouts World Champion Masa Slamovic opened and closed the July 15th episode of NXT. She also picked up her first victory inside of a WWE ring, sending a message to Jacy Jayne in the process. Masa Slamovic interrupted Jacy Jayne in the opening segment of the July 15th episode of WWE NXT. Jayne was in the ring with Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix, bragging about how she plans to defeat Slamovic for the TNA Knockouts World Championship at TNA Slammiversary this weekend. Masha would confront the group known as Fatal Influence, and she wouldn't be outnumbered for long. Sol Ruka and Zarya would come out to the ring and even the odds for Masha, leading to a tag match later in the show. That match would headline the July 15th episode of NXT, and Masha would actually pin Jacy Jayne. She then celebrated by holding up both the TNA Knockouts World Championship and the NXT Women's Championship. If she defeats Jayne at Slammiversary, she'll be the first contracted TNA wrestler to hold NXT Gold. However, she also has a prospective challengers lined up. Both Lash Legend and Jada Parker have already said they'll be waiting for whoever wins both of the championships. Tony DAngelo seemingly got the last laugh last night on NXT. Tony DAngelo stood on business and brought an end to his former family on NXT. DAngelo defeated Channing Stacks Lorendo and Luca Crucifino on NXT. The match was dubbed the Family Business Match. That's because before Stacks betrayed DAngelo, these three were a tight faction known as the Family. The match on July 15th was very physical. Still, in the end, Tony DAngelo emphatically showed his dominance over both of his former stablemates. He would spear Stacks through the stage and chuck him back to the ringside area. He then put Luca Crucifino through a table. Finally, he pinned Stacks with a spine buster. In the end, Tony DAngelo left his hat, signifying his status as the Don of NXT in the ring. It was heavily implied that he was moving on to a new chapter of his career. Jordynne Grace, she was very unhappy, of course, coming out of Evolution at the weekend. Monroe invited Grace to attend her singles debut. The NXT Women's Championship was on the line at WWE Evolution as the reigning champion Jacy Jayne defeated against Jordynne Grace. To offset Fatal Influence's Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix, Grace asked Blake Monroe to accompany her to the ring. Monroe ended up turning on Grace and costing her the championship. A frustrated Grace stormed to the ring last night on NXT and crashed an Evolve Women's Championship match between Carmen Petrovic and the champion Callie Armstrong. She took both competitors out and then demanded that Blake Monroe come to the ring. NXT assistant general managers Robert Stone and Stevie Turner came out to inform Grace that Monroe was not there. A video message from Monroe aired, and she invited Grace to attend her singles debut on next week's NXT in Houston, Texas. We saw more TNA influence last night on NXT. Trust that the system would stop at no lengths to get a measure of revenge against Dark State. The system's Brian Myers, JDC, and Eddie Edwards are part of the dominant TNA wrestling faction. However, they crossed the line and appeared on the July 15th episode of WWE NXT. Their targets for the evening were Dark State, as Dark State's Dion Lennox, Saquon Sugars, and Osiris Griffin were in the middle of a match with Joe Hendry, Trick Williams, and Mike Santana. The system arrived to start a fight. Cutler James, Dion Lennox, and Saquon Sugars and Osiris Griffins had previously attacked the system on TNA wrestling television, and now seemingly the system have repaid the favor. Several matches and segments have been confirmed for next week's episode of WWE NXT, of course taking place in Houston, Texas. 713 Music Hall in Houston, Texas is playing host to the July 22nd edition of WWE NXT on the CW. And as last night's NXT was ongoing, TNA World Champion Trick Williams got into a verbal altercation with The Undertaker's LFG Season 2 team. The Undertaker sent a message to Williams on X and will be confronting him in Houston. There is going to be a triple threat match for the WWE NXT Championship. Champion Obafemi will defend against Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. Scheduled for the program is Blake Monroe in singles action. She'll be facing No Quarter Catch Crew's Ren Sinclair. In addition to that, there will be a singles match between Ricky Saints and Jasper Troy. NXT Women's Champion Jacy Jane and TNA Knockouts World Champion Masa Slamovic are set to clash at Slammiversary this weekend, with both titles up for grabs. Lash Legend and Jada Parker will confront the winner in Houston, Texas. The reigning NXT North American Champion Ethan Page is going to be on the program to celebrate his victory over Ricky Saints at this past weekend's NXT Great American Bash. Going over to AEW here, and a bit of an update on the status of Wardlow at All In Texas. While new champions and broken undefeated streaks seized audiences during AEW's All In festivities, one long-rumored return failed to pass at the Texas-based event, that being Wardlow's fabled return. According to Fightful Select, it seems that Wardlow was in town for All In, but in a strange turn of events, he was not seen backstage until after the show had begun. The context behind Wardlow's tardiness to All In is about as unclear as the former AEW TNT champion's return timeline. Fightful Select offered no further information regarding Wardlow's All In presence or a supposed tardiness, but no reports of an imminent return have seemed to come out of Wardlow's All In backstage visit. Now, recent reports have claimed that while Wardlow is cleared by AEW officials to compete after suffering from a labrum injury and a car accident, Wardlow is currently occupied with the project that was known as American Gladiators. However, it looks like filming has completed on that, so we'll just have to wait and see if indeed he comes back to AEW television anytime soon. Speaking of All In Texas, we've got an update on morale backstage after the show. What comes next for AEW, no one can say for sure, at least until AEW Dynamite hits the airwaves this evening to kick off a 3-week residency for the promotion in Chicago. But at least as far as morale goes backstage, Dave Meltzer revealed on Tuesday's Wrestling Observer Radio that the AEW locker room is, to the shock of absolutely no one, really happy with the direction of the promotion right now. Quote, "I heard from some of the guys and they're very, very happy with the show, very, very happy with the morale," Meltzer said. "I think that this was the night, honestly, where I think that the stench from almost 2 years ago now is gone. That has been a cloud that has been hovering over their head. They know things were going down, then they know things have been going up this year, and then this one being such a big success, I think that feeling is that it's turned around, and they certainly peaked for a big show." And this is an interesting trademark filed by AEW recently. After being a regular presence in their living rooms, All Elite Wrestling seems to be heading to fans' kitchens. In a new filing with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, AEW filed to trademark All Elite Feast for non-electric cookware, namely pots, pans, and dishes, flatware being plates and saucers, drinkware, cups, mugs, utensils for barbecues, namely forks, tongs, turners, kitchen containers, as well as shirts, pants, t-shirts, sweatshirts, shorts, headwear, footwear, socks, undergarments, and finally for prepared meals consisting primarily of meat, fish, poultry, or vegetables. Now, the filing suggests some kind of branded food product from the company, as well as merchandise and cookware with the branding. The news comes just as other public figures like Dolly Parton have entered the frozen prepared foods markets. The news comes on the heels of AEW's biggest show in North America to date, All In 2025, which saw roughly 27,000 people at Arlington, Texas's Globe Life Field. All Elite Feast isn't AEW's first food-related promotion, although it is its first of any kind of actual food, as the company had a brief run of shows on TBS's YouTube channel called Match and a Meal, which saw RJ City and Renee Paquette watch a match with a wrestler or a pair of wrestlers as the group ate a freshly prepared meal in a similar vein to WWE's Table for Three show. While Match and a Meal launched roughly a year ago, it has not uploaded a new episode in 4 months, with the last episode featuring AEW TBS champion Mercedes Moné. Going over to AAA Lucha Libre here, and now Grande versus Octagon is locked in. Coming up for AAA is their July 25th event in Mexico City. It was announced that Octagon Jr. will be taking on WWE's El Grande Americano at the event. This will be the second time the El Grande character wrestles at a AAA branded show. It has been reprised by Ludwig Kaiser while Chad Gable is out of action due to injury. In June, Octagon Jr. wrestled at WWE and AAA Worlds Collide and then went on to challenge Dominic Mysterio for the WWE Intercontinental Championship that same day at Money in the Bank. neck. Our Grande was in action during this weekend's Raw and scored a victory over Dragon Lee. And finally, a bit of an update when it comes to Bryan Danielson and the chant of yes. Bryan Danielson turned some heads many times this weekend, but once actually outside of the ring. Danielson had a panel at this past week's StarCast and shared some stories from throughout his career. He noted that he was asked by WWE to stop doing the yes chants, which some assumed was fairly recently. If recently wasn't the first time, it actually has gone on for years. Upon leaving WWE, Danielson, according to Fightful Select, was actually asked by the company to not do the yes chants as it would infringe on their intellectual property. Danielson largely avoided it throughout most of his AEW career at the request of WWE. In 2023, Danielson filed to trademark the chant, and WWE opposed it. Specifically, WWE sent Danielson an email claiming that he was infringing on their intellectual property. Now, Fightful say they haven't heard on how that has unfolded since then, but it didn't stop him from doing it. Danielson doesn't actively have merchandise on the phrase, but his manager did let him know when it became available in 2023. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. We're on the road to 24,000 subscribers. Several big events coming up in the next few weeks. That includes the likes of SummerSlam and much more. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Join the ever-expanding WNU, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.